Welcome, everyone. Thanks for being on the call today. We appreciate that. We've got a great call for you, and I hope that you look in the chat box. We have the book there if you want to take a look at that, but we're also going to put it up on the screen. But you might want to take a copy of that book. I'm Monica Reynolds, and I've got Monica Kelts, the co-presenter here, and she will
Hello,
be.
everyone.
Hello. Okay, Monica Kelts, Monica Reynolds here. It's the Monica team, and we're excited to talk to you. And this is a booklet, and it's in the chat box, so you'll want to cut, copy, paste, whatever, print it off if you can, real quick. Otherwise, we're going to pull it up on the screen now. And it's about building your best year ever in 2026. I'm not going to talk about listings. I'm not going to talk about buyer appointments and all that stuff. I'm talking about mindset and creating the best life. And what are the things that you have to do to get and play on that? So, Monica, let's flip to the first page where it says, obviously there's a table of contents. Let's go to choose your North Star. What's your word? So, Monica, I was coaching someone today, the Hearn team, and I said, what is your word? And Michael said consistency. And James said, completion. And so, what's the word that you want? So, you have to think about what's your word. Now, some of you will laugh. Monica Reynolds' word is fun. What's your word, Monica Kelts? What's your North Star word?
Mine's an interesting one this year. It's no. Turns out I'm a yes person, and this year we are only saying yes to the things that matter.
Well,
So
isn't
my
that
word this year is no.
okay? So you need that word. Is it peace? Is it bold? Is it action? Is it joy? Is it family? And it could be money. You could be working on your finances. What's that word that means something to you this year? And so for me at my age, I'm just looking to have fun. I'm above the dirt and I'm going to have fun, and everything I do like today is fun. So design your life, not just your calendar. So when you look at your calendar, you're looking at health, you're looking at energy, you're looking at your work, your money, your relationships, your growth. So another question is, Monica just became a new grandmother. You probably now have a new schedule this year about when you're going to see your grandchild, right?
Exactly, which is why I need to say no to more things so that I can spend more time with her.
Exactly. And so, but if it's not in your schedule, it doesn't exist. And it's like date night with your spouse or your significant other.
Mhm.
It's date playtime with your kids and say, okay, Saturday afternoons, we're always going to do something fun. It could be going to the park. It doesn't have to cost money. It could be going, to a movie. It could be going and seeing your mother, whatever it happens to be. Journaling, daily planning. The key thing is that you have to create some habits, but they have to be in your calendar. But you've got to include, what's fun for you? What's your spiritual part where you take time to reconnect? What's the fitness? What's your mental well-being? What do you do? A lot of people I know get up early just to have an hour before the world starts spinning out of control, as some people like to say to me. And habits to create, we've talked about all those again. What's your morning routine? Again, getting up maybe an hour, half an hour early sometimes creates the most important part of that. Invest and reinvest in relationships that make life feel rich. Honestly, think about that. There's three types of people that make you laugh, people you learn from, and people you make money with them, not from them. It should be with them. And so obviously, Monica Kels and I laugh, we learn from each other, and we make money together. And so our relationship is really strong in those three categories. And taking pictures and milestones, and gosh, with these phones nowadays, you can do almost anything. So, Monica, talk about the yearly overview. What should they be filling in there? Let's go to that next page.
Yeah, guys. So if you're looking at this, think 12-week year, we have it split into the 6 months, right? So when you're looking at this, you're prioritizing, right? If you come back up here and you're thinking about your trips, your personal challenges, your health, it should be a calendar that represents where are you taking your trips? Where are you plugging in your your learning and your travel, your family time? Do you have that scheduled out? Maybe you have to have a health procedure and we're scheduling around some of that. So as you go through here, your birthdays, your anniversaries, your trips, you're protecting your time and you're doing that for you first. So I'm sure a lot of people on this call, you might be feeling some burnout right now, right? And that could be because we missed this part right here. Have something big to look forward to. Did you schedule that in throughout the year, right? And so that's the purpose when we're looking at this calendar is we're plugging all that in first because we know real estate can plug in everything else 100% of the time, right?
Yeah, and so let's go back to that because I did skip over that. So
Okay.
on the
You guys are
trip,
going to get sick with
okay,
me scrolling back and forth.
yeah, okay, stay with us. We're going to put you on a merry-go-round. Yeah, so trips. One thing, okay, so I worked on the fourth floor and ran maps for 3 years, and I met with Gary all the time, and he goes, gosh, nobody's ever asked me that question. I said to him, what's the first thing you fill out in your calendar? You know what he said? My vacations. I sit with my wife, Mary, and we fill out when we're taking vacations. We fill out the holidays. We fill out what we're going to do maybe before that or after that. So put that in your schedule right now. Put your family's birthdays in. Have this be kind of a working document. And then, take a green marker and where you have time off, put green little checks on that so you can see where you can look forward to like a 3 day weekend, or it's your birthday and you're going to take an extra day, or you're going to take some days around the 4th of July, whatever it happens to be. So be sure that you're doing those kind of things right now. But trips and vacations, that's number one, has to go in there. In any other special events and anniversaries and things like that. Okay, Monica, I'm good.
All right, we're going to move on down to the gratitude changes everything, especially this time of year.
Take it away, Monica, and I'll jump
All
in.
right, guys. So, our whole goal of this is we've created a 3x3 method for you. And so each day you're looking at what were my 3 wins because it's so easy to talk about everything that went wrong, right? We have, low appraisals and bad inspections and, needy clients and then life is still happening to you. So, when you start that day, or maybe it's in the afternoon, how did I win today? Even if your win was you just got out of bed, right? And then 3 people or moments that you're grateful for. Name them, bring them to life in front of you. Who showed up for you? Who made you smile? Who made you laugh? When you start creating this habit, you will show up differently for those people and for the day. And then what are your 3 intentions for tomorrow, right? How will I lead in gratitude tomorrow? What energy do I want to bring to the day? Just how am I being intentional? When you bring that to the forefront, you will change how you show up for everyone else around you and how you change and show up for yourself. And so when you look at that daily, we then move that into the week. And so we want to reflect on each week. Otherwise, we get in that run, 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 run. We never slow down. I remember one year I got asked to lead this panel and they wanted to know everything that I had accomplished that year. And I remember looking at my rainmaker, Jen Davis, and I was like, I don't know, Jen. I just showed up and did my job. I have no idea what I accomplished. And she started giving me lists of things. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot that I did that. I forgot that that happened this year. It feels like a lifetime ago, right? But when you journal those weekly wins, the gratitude, you can always flip back and be so grateful for what you have done and really be proud of yourself. So, what was your favorite moment of the week? What challenge, taught you the most? What habit are you most grateful for? And how will I carry this into next week? And then that week becomes your 30-day gratitude challenge, right? So, call or text someone who's helped you, write a handwritten note, revisit a memory that makes you smile, say thank you out loud to someone and actually mean it, right? And then revisit those notes often. They will remind you of why you show up every single day for yourself, for your family, and the people around you.
The thing too about, I was just looking up on my bookshelf. When you go to family reunion or mega camp, the vendors will be giving out these little notebooks, and some of them they're not leather bound usually, but they look nice, or even bold and things like that. I've got a ton of those, and I just take one out and I write 2026 gratitudes. And so you can get them on Amazon for under $10, but get a special book that you've got probably hanging around in your office in your life somewhere, and just make it a special book. And I put mine where I go to bed at night. So when you talk about morning routines, getting up a little bit earlier, whatever you're doing, prayer, exercise, just meditation, read something good. In my evening routine, one of the last things I do is I write down these three things I'm grateful for. And it can be the simplest things of having a great conversation with someone, or had a fun smile from my grandson, things like that. Our grandson shared a joke with me. It wasn't funny, but I laughed and he thought it was great. So here's the key thing: we have to document why we are so happy to have the opportunities. And there's so many negative things that happen, whether it's the news or whatever, all the craziness out there. We're above the dirt. We have an opportunity to have a great life, and it's all about the mindset and having every single day be the best day of your life, and really looking for that joy. And there's joy in every day. You have to just acknowledge it. Okay, we're not going to
Absolutely.
talk a lot about the seven circles, because obviously this is exactly, things that KW absolutely should in every market center be talking about too. Spiritual life, physical, personal life, key relationships, job, business, and finances. Read through these things. This is a great thing to share with your family, your friends, your team. But here's the one page that I think is really important: where do you rate yourself on a 1 to 10? What is working well? What do you need to focus on? So let's say in your personal life, you feel guilty about not seeing your kids so much. You rate yourself like a 5 or something. What's working well? Put that down. So you want to say what works well. What do you need to focus on? So in my world, being a single mom raising three kids who, thank goodness, turned out really terrific, um, I made sure that there were certain times that, I was home for dinner every night except Tuesdays and Thursday nights. Those were my appointment nights. I took them to school every day. I picked them up every day. I made those my priorities. And then my kids and I had date night on Friday night. And then Saturday afternoons, we had fun afternoons. And then Sunday, they knew I worked. I did open houses. We went to church in the morning. They went home. We had lunch, and I went to work. And then we just had a certain schedule, but they knew they could count on me. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I had a, college girl come in and help them with homework and dinner, and I'd be home before they went to bed, of course. So you get those. So then my guilt was gone. They felt fine about it. And it was very important to just schedule those things. So when you think about that and you think about your finances, the other thing that I learned a long time ago is visit your money. 1:30 every Friday afternoon. For years, I have visited my money. And I look at what, sometimes there wasn't a whole lot to visit. Of course, it didn't take long. And I look at what my account said, what my savings account said, what my IRA said, my SEP account at the next step, whatever it was. If I had a few stocks here and there, I looked at them, bad, good, ugly. I made myself know what kind of money I had, because that was my scorecard, and paying for three kids and college and everything else. I had to be on top of that. Anything else you'd add to this form too, Monica?
Really at the bottom, Gary's quote of work expands to fill your life. Don't let it crowd out what matters most. I have definitely felt that multiple times, right? I don't actually know that work life balance exists. The pendulum is always going to swing. But if you protect the most important things, it's harder for work to expand into those buckets. And so I would just highly encourage all of you, when you go into 2026, revisit your seven circles, because they can get out of whack pretty quickly. We all go through seasons. And so we have to keep those seasons in check. And this is a very powerful tool because we're not winning in everything. And so when we look at that, it kind of leads us into the 5 F's. Monica, I know you did this with your kids when they were growing up. Now you're doing it with your grandkids, I believe,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And January 1st, if they're not near me, then I put them on a Zoom call and we go through the faith, family, fun, fitness, and finances. When my kids were little, they would go, okay, faith, we can go to the church by Disneyland. Fun, we'll have fun at Disneyland. Fitness, we'll do a lot of walking. Finances will help, build that. I mean, we'll start saving our money. So it's faith, family, fun, fitness, and finances, and they would cover it all basically with Disneyland. Now, as they got older, things got a little bit more understandable for their age, and they're all successful now. They all do goals, and they do goals with their kids, and they're my grandkids. And now I'm listening to what their goals are. So I've got one grandson who plays golf, and his goal is to get a golf scholarship. I've got another grandson, and his goal is, believe it or not, to go into the Marines. Not my first choice for him. I'd rather he go into college first, but we'll see how this goes. He's meeting with a recruiter this weekend, Monica. Isn't that fun?
Yeah,
So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, so the bottom line is that kids can be goal oriented too, and it's not about entitlement and giving them. They've got to set goals and work toward them too. And so when you teach them faith, family, fun, fitness, and finances, I guarantee you kids will turn out great. Okay. All right, moving on.
absolutely.
So let's go to Life by Design. Take it away, Monica. This is complicated, you guys. We're going to go through it. It takes some time to understand it, but it's really simple. And Monica will start this, and then I'll jump in too.
Yeah, and you guys have likely, already seen this before if you are with Keller, but you're basically documenting your current lifestyle, and it can be painful to do that, right? And this is how we get clarity on are we good or do we need some improvement, right? So, if you look at what does it include, housing, transportation, food, it's basically your cost of living, right? And then you add that up there on this line. Now we look at your
Okay, let's
future
stop right
vision.
there.
Oh,
Let's stop right
I will
there.
always move too fast for her,
I
guys.
know. Well, because there's some, because no, you do it great. And here's the thing though. If you go to Starbucks every week, you put it in there. If you are eating
Mhm.
out 3 times a week or buying your lunch 2 times or 3 times a week and you're not bringing your lunch to work or whatever, put that in there because you need to look at every single expense you had this month and last month to make sure. What about subscriptions? Netflix, Hulu, all of those. I started looking at those going, I don't even have time to watch one. Why do I have six of these things going? So I shut down a whole bunch. And so you have to really think about where is your money. So it's a reality check, but looking at absolutely your credit cards and your bank statements for the last couple of months. Okay?
Absolutely. And that then leads into what's your future vision and any add-ons. So when we were talking about those vacations or those travel goals, is it realistic? And then how do we make it realistic, right? How much is it even going to cost? Because when we can estimate what that looks like, we will work towards making it happen. Do you have future home upgrades and home dreams that you're looking at? Maybe you want to redo your deck because you love watching the sun come up or go down, right? Are you putting money into your kids' savings if you have kiddos? Your hobbies or your memberships. Monica Reynolds likes to always bring up the fact that I have a ton of furry donkeys and furry cows. And for me, those cost a lot of money. And that is a hobby to me, right?
They're
And then what
miniature.
is,
They're miniatures or
they are
whatever.
miniature.
They're so
They're pretty
cute.
cute. They're pretty
They're
cute.
expensive. They're expensive.
They are. They are. And then additional giving, charity, give back. Money is as good as the good that money can do, right? And so if you can't do it right now, what are your goals around these things? Because when you write them down, they become real. And when they're in front of your face, you pay more attention to them. Otherwise, you'll do it tomorrow, you'll do it next month, you'll do it next year. And then a couple years pass and you've never actually invested in your kids or your hobbies or your vacations, right? So put it down so that you guys can see it. And then once we get through, here's what it takes to live, here's what I want the future to look like. Now we're going to look at our wealth building. Do we have an emergency fund? Right? Thank goodness I had been paying attention to this because we were supposed to be in Hawaii and then my husband went in the hospital for a week, right? There's that emergency fund. Do you have your retirement contributions? We're 1099 agents running around out here in the world. So we definitely need to be paying attention to, we don't want to work forever, right? Are we interested in real estate investments? Maybe we want to flip a house or invest in commercial real estate, residential real estate. Maybe you're passionate about other investments. Mine is my farm, right? It costs a lot of money, but it also makes me money. And then what's our legacy goal? College funds, vacation homes, charitable giving. It Working through this, a personal story really quick that I won't take very long on is there are things that are happening today in my life that I never thought possible. And I was not even ready for the opportunity. I didn't even know that it existed. And about a month ago, my husband and I had this opportunity to buy a pretty large piece of land. We weren't ready for it. We weren't even intentionally saving for it. But because I have paid attention to doing this, we were able to jump on that very quickly and make yet another long-term life goal of a someday happen right now instead of 10 years from now. So this does work. When you put it down and you look at it, it puts you in a position to take opportunity when it presents itself. Anything else
Yeah,
you would add on there?
well, on the emergency fund, I think you need to really think about, I worked for Dave Ramsey for about 5 years, and you need at least, 1 to 2 months in there, is your goal to get that sort of an emergency fund that covers all your bills. You should be making a retirement contribution. Don't disregard that, because all of a sudden you turn around and you go, wow, that's added up. I mean, that's an important thing to do, and it's a tax benefit for you now. Okay, respectful of everybody's time, hang in there with us. We're going to go now on to step 4. Okay, Monica, take it away.
Yeah, so then you're going to calculate your annual life by design income goal, right? What is your baseline living cost plus what we talked about, your additional vacations, travel. Then we're going to look at your savings and investments target, and that's going to equal our total annual income that's needed, right? This is your life by design number that if everything worked out, this is what it would take. Um, and then we move into step 5, which is our income reality check, right? What are we currently making? Maybe that's that salary, it's your commission, your bonus and profit share incentives. Incentives. Do you have anything like that coming in? Other income sources, other household income. So then we're going to get that total current income. That is today. So now we have our annual income that we need to live our life by design. We have our actual reality income. And then step 6 is where we identify the gap. So this is where we really get real with ourselves. If the number feels big, good. It should. It's not a negative thing. It's not a problem. It's a target. It's a goal, right? We all should have goals. So look at that. When the number down there exists, we have something to get excited about and work towards. We're not just floating through life. And now it is time, step 7, to actually create that pathway to close our gap. So we're going to brainstorm what that looks like. We're going to go home and talk to our spouse or our family or our kids. Um, and then maybe you look up and say, okay, I haven't had a raise in 5 years, or I am not able to bonus and I'm an admin, or, maybe you're a salary role on a team. What could that look like? And then how do you take leadership on that? Present a plan, create a plan. There's so many AI platforms out there right now that can help do that. It doesn't mean you have to know how, right? And then make sure it makes sense. Sell that, right? Sell your idea or your vision of that. Offer consulting or coaching, right? And develop a skill set. You should always be developing. So, what does that look like? So you are the CEO of your own life. This is not just a job, right? If you're treating this as an 8 to 5, you might be struggling. Like, let's really get intentional with that current income. What is our gap? And set some really big goals around this.
And the Dave Ramsey quote, a budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. It's a great quote. Good job on that. All right. Wellness break menu. Okay, so when you get on an airplane, they say if you're flying, they say, if we need oxygen and you're traveling with the child, be sure you put your oxygen mask on first. Why is that? Because you can't help anyone until you help yourself first. And so again, one of us, not one of us, all of us will constantly be putting everything else first, whether it's family and kids and business, and that order changes all the time, or clients, that order changes all the time. And we forget the you, and it's about you. And when you start to put you in the schedule, like getting up early for you, or having an evening routine where it's about you, or you have a once a month massage, or you get your nails or a pedicure. What do? You go out to lunch with some friends once a month. Where's your time? Where do you step back? Do you take a walk by yourself? Do you go to a yoga class? And so these are just some great suggestions, and looking at what can you do to recharge, but you have to put it in your schedule. Then on that next page, it's connecting, having lunch with three friends, going to the library. I mean, we went to the library here in Austin and it's amazing. I mean, who goes to a library anymore? It was great. Listening to podcasts are fun. I'll clean out a closet and put on a podcast and listen to it. There are so many awesome ones out there. Go to a movie by yourself. I've done that many times. Go to a museum. I love to go to farmers market and walk around and look at different, the foods and the vegetables and just chat to some of these guys. It's interesting. And so exploring, and that's how you stay connected. What are the things you like to do? And then books to read. There's so many great books out there. And I just read a book, Monica, and I can't think of the title of it, but it was Earl Nightingale's something success formula or something like that. Um, if you guys want to know what it is, you can email me at monica@kw.com. It was such a good book. And some of my favorite books are, you know, um, on prospecting, I've got it right here, Fanatical Prospecting by Jeb Blunt. Anything by Dave Ramsey on money is excellent also. What, Not How. And so The Wealth Gardener, Pizza Tiger, all of those are great books recommended by Gary Keller. I'm just looking at my books on my shelf right there. The key thing that I think is really critical is that you put your list there. Now, here's what I do. And I tell everybody that I've ever coached, and I've coached more people than anybody in the country as far as real estate. Go buy your 12 books from Amazon that you want to buy. Now, what I like to do is every other book is a fun book, like a John Grisham book or whatever I'm into at that time, Nelson DeMille, usually murders, mysteries, whatever. So I buy a business book, a fun book, business fun, and I alternate. I buy all 12 books at once and I put them on my desk, and I'll start reading one at a time, and I'll get that so I can see those books. So they're there visually. It's not like, oh, I should read that. I think I'll write that down. I go buy them and I put them on my desk. Does that make sense, Monica?
Yeah, when they're there in front of you, you are intentional about what you are reading. Instead of just saying, I'm going to read 12 books this year, you're going to read 12 books for what purpose, right? Mine would all be leadership books. If I want to build my leadership, I'm going to read leadership books, not
Hmm.
just to read 12.
Yeah, and Sammy Ferguson does some of the calls with us when we do our millionaire real estate operations class, and then that's her list of books and Monica's, and then we've given you a list to write. Now remember, Monica's focused on leadership. I'm focused on business books, fun book, business book, fun book. And so do what you want to do in that category, but go buy all of them now if you can, or buy three at a time or four at a time, because if you get them and you're stacked up, you will read them. Okay. And then let's talk about a vision board real quick. Most of you know what a vision board is and what to do. So, Monica, just share some things about how it's worked for you.
Yeah, so when you look at this, guys, when things are in front of your face, whether you're a vision board person or you do it electronically or, whatever your goal is in this, when it's in front of your face, so it's a reminder, right? So if you were to look at mine, there's land on it, there's furry cow, there's Highland cows on it, there's donkeys, right? There's travel on there of where we want to go, there's the mountains, there's the beach. And so those things all represent something that's important to me in that year. There's my kids, so when we look at that, it keeps you focused on what matters the most. It clarity creates focus, right? It's going to filter out all those distractions for you. It also allows you to become creative. So if you're setting the mood right, play the music that inspires you, journal down what gives you energy, make space. Like, the sky's the limit in this, right? If you want a new car, put 5 cars that you're thinking about and narrow it down through the year, right? But we've already completed that life by design. So now we're really clear on what this vision board We're bringing our goals to life in front of us. So create your board, place a photo of yourself in the middle. You are the anchor, and then put those things all around of where you want to see yourself going. Hang it where you'll see it, your workspace, your bedroom, maybe it's your bath. I've had people hang theirs in their bathroom when they wake up, right? And so it doesn't have to follow a certain model. The important thing is it is your goals and they are on the wall in front of your face so that you look at them every day. What else would you add to that?
The thing about it is if you see it every day, and it's like I said to the guys I coached this morning, I said, why don't you put the word consistency up? If that's your word, mine is fun. And trust me, I have lots of pictures of fun things that I want to do this next year. Put that word up. I mean, you have to have that visualization. So, a long time ago, I had some credit card debt, like most people get themselves involved to a long time ago. And so I took a couple of them. I think I had three credit cards going, and I put them and I posted them in my home office, and I put a green zero on each one of them. And every single month, I would take down the bill and I would put it up so that I could see that it was a decreasing amount. And if I added to it, I would circle that in a red. So I was a bad person that month. So my goal was to get that bill down. And so I had that visualization. I then wanted a new car at one time. So I put a picture of the car that I wanted so I could visually see that. That was in the office. Those were things that kept me motivated. So you have to have pictures. People think in pictures usually all the time. And so that's a key thing. So on the next page, Monica, I'll share with you is, you know, what to put on your bulletin board, feelings that, action items, etc. All those things are great. Let's go to reflections and commitment. Okay, Monica, take it away and I'll jump in too.
Yeah. So, right under that, clarity means nothing without action, right? And so, a lot of us are dreamers. We can dream all day long, but we actually have to take that first step. And sometimes the first step is the scariest step. We don't know what's on the other side of that. Maybe something's holding you back, or you don't think you're deserving of something, right? But your best year ever won't happen by accident, but it will happen by design through small daily steps, right? So, if you look at this, three things I'm most proud of this year. We just had our holiday Christmas party on our team, and we started it by saying, not what are you grateful for? What is something you've done this year that you're proud of? And that's a really hard question for some people to answer. They really had to sit there and think through it. And sometimes finding one thing is hard enough. We're asking you to find three. What are three lessons that you're carrying into 2026? Maybe you're not carrying the actual thing into 2026, but what is the lesson that you learned that you're carrying with you? And then what are three things that you're ready to release? That could be the same thing as the lesson that you're taking in, right? So for me, mine is that I love to say yes to everything. I love it. Give me more. And then until I'm ready to run from my own self. So when you look at that, it's what are you leaving behind? What is the lesson that you learned? And then what are you proud of? They all can be related to each other. What would you add, Reynolds?
The thing that I like on reflecting back is I also think to myself, what are the things that I did well? I asked someone the other day, what lesson did you learn this year? And I
Mhm.
said, business wise, what lesson did you learn personally? So then I break it down and what lesson did you learn about money this year? And
Mhm.
so you can break down those lessons to reflect back, but the learning the lessons is, the road to success is paved with mistakes. So I always say the more mistakes you make, the more successful you're going to be. And then when you look at the next page here, really dial in. What is your word for 2026? I mean, that is such a key thing to do, and it's fun. And how do how I want to feel this year? What's going to bring you the most joy? What's going to give you the most fulfillment? It might be that you want to feel financially in control. You might want to feel your relationships are solid. it's this call is not about taking listings. You guys can figure that out. Get a maps coach, they're the best. You'll figure that out. What's your one goal you'll achieve in 2028? It may be that you want to net X amount of money, which should allow you to do this. It may be that you want to donate time or volunteer. One habit you're going to build. Maybe it's getting up earlier. And most importantly, every schedule starts the night before. You have to go to bed at the same time. It's reasonable time. Going to bed at 12 and 1 o'clock is not reasonable, not if you want to be a super successful person. You have to go to bed early and get up early. That's the goals. You have to build those habits. And yeah, one morning you probably want to sleep in, but you get up, you'll go to bed early that night. It's not a problem. And then how do you celebrate yourself each month? What's the key thing where you go, okay, that was great. I did that. And then what's not on there is where are you keeping track of this? Where's your, do you print off something, a photo you took, and you put that on your vision board of success board as you have a milestone? Where are you documenting all this? Because the journey is part of it, but documenting it so that you have the milestones and the benchmarks. I did that. I did that. And when I look at things and I look at people, and I've coached more than anyone in the country in real estate, I can honestly tell you the smartest, most successful agents aren't really what I call the smartest. They aren't the Einsteins. They have a work ethic. They know what's right. They know what's wrong. They do win-win situations. They're good people. They're honest. They're kind. And their work ethic is incredible. They focus on the right things every day. And they have great relationships. And like Monica said, sometimes our lives are out of balance. That's just normal, but you know how to get that balance back. Sometimes you're a little cattywampus over here, but you're okay here, but you're not. You get it all. You just know what to do when you have to do it. And so I think you just have to make a commitment that you're going to have your best year ever in 2026. And you say, I'm going to put my vacations first in my schedule. I'm going to schedule my family in my schedule. So I'm going to schedule my faith in my schedule, my spirituality. So, again, it's God, family, business. So get the God and the family all scheduled in, and then dial in the work, and then dial in the right work with the right focus, and you will have the life you want. And it's not necessarily about making $1 million this year. That would be great. It's about having the balance that you want in your life and what are reasonable things to achieve. I was talking to someone the other day and they said, my kid's not a great student in school. And I said, well, I'm in the 380 $250,000 club. Now, my kids are all extremely successful, and Monica can tell you that. They're in their 50s. I'm in the 380 $250,000 club. 3 kids, 8 colleges. They had fun. 0 degrees, and it cost me $250,000 over 30, 40 years ago to put them through school. They didn't ever graduate. They kept moving around to colleges and one party school, San Francisco State, to Orange County, to Santa Barbara, you name it. We went all up and down the coast of California. The key thing that you have to hear, though, is that they are extremely successful. They have a great work ethic. And it's not about so much of this, and this, and this. It's about developing good, kind people when you're raising kids, but also you as a person. If you do the right things all the time and you have the right mindset and you say, this is what I want to achieve this year, make reasonable expectations. But with, like Monica said, push yourself a little bit, get a little bit more, do a little bit more. Right, Monica? What else would you add?
Now, I know some of this sometimes to people can feel like, this is a good, a good advice, but maybe I'll do 1 or 2 pages. Slow down. I promise you'll thank us later for it. It really does cause you to think really through what you want your life to look like. It's very easy to show up on autopilot, especially in real estate, more than anything in real estate, right? It never stops. And so when we can slow down and really get intentional with ourselves, You cannot pour from an empty cup. We've all heard that before, and it's really true. So slow down, be intentional, create your word. How do you want to feel? And then show up every day to your vision board, to your commitments to yourself. So you'll see that we have that commitment statement there for you to sign. Even if you only sign this and put it in front of your face, this will create impact in your life.
Yeah, and if you have any questions about this or any of our playbooks, and Monica and I do a class, you can reach both of us basically through monica@kw.com. Monica runs a big team. They do extraordinary amount of business, and we do a class together called Millionaire Real Estate Operations. Our whole goal today was to really just share with you. I mean, our expertise is systems. Our expertise is everything from conversations and scripts and dialogues and all that kind of stuff. I should say conversations and checklists and systems. But our key thing right now today was just say, you can do this. And it's just about the mindset. And you can say 2026 is the best year ever. It doesn't matter what's happening out in the outside world. It doesn't matter what the interest rates are. You can have the best year ever, and it's all about you and how you perceive what you're going to do each day by starting the day right and ending the day right. So get those gratitude books, read the right things, and stay away from all the negativity. All right, anything else, Monica?
No, guys, this has been wonderful. Thank you for taking time out of your Friday to hang out with us. And hopefully, we will get to connect with you in the new year.
Yeah, and if you have any information you need, Monica@kw.com or MonicaReynolds.com. All of our information there is about the programs that Monica and I do. So if you want to sign up for MAPS coaching, I know that Madeline put that in there to sign up to join coaching. That would be terrific too. Invest in yourself. Education is key, and have someone help you be accountable for all these things today. All right. Thanks, everybody. Is anything there we missed, Monica?
I don't think so, guys. You have the link to the holiday calls, to the program that's launching. You have the workbook, and you also have the link if you are looking for a coach like one of us. So we hope we've provided enough value with you guys today in the chat that you can find your next growth plan through there.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Print off that playbook. Share it with everybody you want. Have a great, great holiday. Merry Christmas.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Happy
Thank you.
holidays.